I can't do it. Okay. We'll do it live.
Okay. No.
We'll do it live. It. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live. Thing sucks.
Here we go. Wednesday, May 28th. We're back, kiddos. It's the Daily Puck Drop here on a fabulous Wednesday. Good to see everyone. Good to hear from everyone. It's been a lengthy time off here for almost 5 days. What, last show? Did we do a show Thursday? Yeah, I can't even remember. No show Friday, no show on Monday and Tuesday. Hope everyone had a long, restful time off. Of course, the Daily Puck Drop comes live every single day, 10 a.m. Here on Puck Sports, pucksports.com. Of course, you can check out the YouTube page. We go live there every day, also on Twitter. And, of course, the Puck Sports mobile app downloaded today to your iPhone or your Android phone there as well. You can listen to us on the move, on the go, and in Apple CarPlay as well. Now, if you come into the live show late and you're like, I missed some stuff, I'd like to catch up on it. YouTube, Puck Sports, all the videos, everything is up there. And, of course, we are on every podcast platform, Apple, Spotify, wherever you find your wonderful podcast. Of course, we are sponsored wonderfully. The Daily Puck Drop broadcasting studios of Puck Sports, the Limback Lumber Studios, contractors. I got free deliveries, everything from whole house packages to homeowner DIY projects. The largest stock moldings in the Northwest, old school service. They've been doing it since 1930. Give them a call, 206-782-3487. Visit them online at limbacklumber.com. All right. Also, follow everything on those social media platforms, Puck Sports on Twitter, Instagram, and Blue Sky, and, of course, Puck's _sports. They're on TikTok and Facebook, Puck Sports, and at pucksports.com. Sign up and join the Puck's Posse community. $5 a month is all it costs you. You get all the free content we do, plus all the bonus shows that we do throughout the week. All right, we'll talk about my adventures in Bend, Oregon. Boy, it's a stereotype, but it holds true. We'll get to that. Polanco worries. Jim and I have a very special guest that we caught up with early this morning. Corey Widman, who's going to join us. Corey Widman, is going to join us to talk about Mental Awareness Month and talk about his son, Reese. We're going to get to that here in a little bit. And then our MLB insider, Ryan Divish, will join us. Ladies and gentlemen, I mean, you're going to get a kick out of this. Here's the beauty. He's got a microphone. And he somehow, his boys have given him a virtual background. Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only, it is the go-to guy, Mr. James Moore. Hello, sir. He's brought to you by...
Hey, Puck. I hope I'm sounding better than I usually do. Clean Streak is who I'm brought to you by. Brian Turner and his professional window and exterior cleaning service out of Oak Harbor. Beautiful Oak Harbor. Proudly serving Island and Skagit counties for more than 10 years. They'll clean your roof, unclog your gutters. They'll pressure wash your driveway or your patio. Come on, the weather's getting better. Give them a call at 360-395-5748. That's 360-395-5748. And what the hell is the day? The May 27th. You've got 4 more days.
May 28th.
Claim your $50 offer. $50 offer if you hire Brian Turner and his crew at acleanstreak.com. To do a job for you, I'm giving you $50, okay? I'm trying to give you money. So help me out, help him out, help us all out, pucksports.com. Here we go. Jesus Christ.
Hey, the new mic is sounding great. You just got to either back away just a tiny bit or turn down the
No, I'm not backing away. You told me to get as close as I could to the mic. I'm not doing it.
I know, but now you're
if I back away, then it's too echoey, right?
Then turn down
the happy medium. Jesus Christ, is there anything that I ever do right?
Just turn it if you can.
Fuck me dead. Okay, can you hear that? Fuck me dead. How's that? Can you hear that?
Just turn it down.
Hey, how about back here? Fuck me dead. Okay. How about like kind of right in the middle? Fuck me dead. Is that better? How's that? Okay.
Just turn down the gain a little bit. That's all you got to do.
Turn down the gain.
Yeah, there you go.
I thought we had all this covered. Is that better? Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll just make it work.
Yeah, there's some people out there that are probably like amused with this and can relate to what I'm going through. I mean,
not me. I'll tell you what. I'll raise my hand.
I know it's not you. I know it's not you, and I don't want to frustrate you. That's why I'm thinking about quitting. I'm just like, fuck, man. I'm retired. I don't need any hassles in my life.
You got it working.
Whatever I'm giving you ain't worth shit. compared to the
Oh,
stress
you're
the
fine.
stress I'm putting you through. No. I'm serious. I'm serious, Buck, because whatever I'm offering with insight and hijinks and all that, it's just not worth it. I mean, you like my grand piano though? That's
Stop
pretty
it.
nice.
Yeah. So the boys have somehow set you up with a virtual background is my favorite.
Well, yeah. I mean, I went and got this, blue mic that's supposed to be special. That apparently, hopefully, I sound better. I'm giving the same bullshit, but it's just in a different form now through a blue microphone, and I can hear you through the headphones. So that's good.
Hey, it's a winner chicken dinner. We're all good. God, everybody's winning.
I just look old and tired, and oh my God.
Well, it's that
I'll
time
be 68 next month. 68.
Well, 68. That's a great age.
How would you know?
You're getting I don't know. I've met people that are 68.
You know what? I have a bad left knee, and then I woke up yesterday, and I didn't do anything. All I did was sleep. And I woke up and my right knee was barking like a dog. I'm going, what the fuck, man? I mean, my right knee is supposed to be my, halfway decent one. But anyway, all right. We have a good show today, though, don't we? God. Once I'm out of here, you'll have a great show.
Oh, you're fine. You're good.
Shit.
One of these days, I'm just going to record the behind the scenes. It'll be great. I think people would want the uncut version of what's going on behind the scenes. But thank you to Mikey. Mikey was in there. It was Johnny on the spot. Got he all set up.
No, he helped me. Yeah, there was a camera setting thing, and I had the wrong setting. And what I don't understand, let me just, before you get into the show and whatever you're going to say about white people,
you're going to say
a bunch of white people in Bend, Oregon. I know you're going to get into that. I thought it was just a joke, but when I got to Bend, there were just white people everywhere. Quit talking over me.
I know what you're going to say. I didn't touch anything.
Okay. Let me just tell people my age anyway that are out there that struggle with cyber shit too. Okay, because last night we did a test run on Kathy's computer. Yep. The new microphone, the headphones, everything worked great. Okay, the camera worked great last night. No one touched anything on the fucking computer until this morning when I tried to get on for the Corey Widman interview. Very serious topic. And then my camera wasn't working. So why, anyone who knows cyber shit, explain to me why, when no one touched the computer at all night long, I mean, River and Sky weren't in here dicking around with it. Nothing was going on. And then I tried again the next day and the camera doesn't work. Please, someone on the chat thing, explain that to me. When it worked last night, didn't work this morning. And then you just go, well, fuck it, man. I'm done. I don't know what else to do. So that's it. Okay.
I would say that it,
What did it do something overnight? Did it?
Yeah, I think the computer probably did it on its own. Probably decided to change the camera settings, or maybe somebody else did it.
Yeah,
accidentally. And accidents happen.
I feel like taking a sledgehammer to it. I do. I do, and that would feel really good to take a sledgehammer to it. It'd be worth it. Okay. All right, is the sound okay now?
Yeah, it's good.
Okay, all right.
Good. I mean, you're a little hot, but that's fine. We can mess with it later. You just got.
I turn the gain down. I turned the gain down a little bit.
Yeah, there you go. Turn the gain down a little. It's like turn down the volume on the microphone. You sound great. It's good to see you again. It's been a few days off. Last time we talked was last week. A week ago. You weren't with us Thursday. We did do a show Friday, and then of course we took Monday. I took Monday and Tuesday off. Monday out. No one was working Monday anyway. It's a Memorial Day, and then Tuesday I was traveling back from Bend. And yes, you beat me to the punch, but I was going to tell you this. Because I'm sitting there, my brother-in-law lives down there. He's lived down there for 4 or 5 years now. 4 years. And one of the first things he said, we were just sitting there, talking over beers, and one of the 15,000 breweries are down there. And he's like, I'm like, yeah, you love, don't regret it, right? Don't regret ever moving down here. He's like, no, not all that best move I ever made. It's beautiful. Look around you. It's sun, it's mountains and streams, and you get a mountain bike, and I get a ski, and it's awesome. He kind of looks around though, and he goes, we're at Crux Brewery. You been to Crux Brewery?
I have been there, yeah.
He looks around, he goes, you notice anything? And I knew right away, like, yeah. Awfully white. He's like, you're damn right. Awfully white. And we just kind of chuckled, and it's just, reaffirms why you moved down there, because you just
I want to make this clear. I moved here for the mountains and streams and to stay in the Northwest, and so I could get in my car and drive to see my granddaughter and my mom up in Seattle. I didn't want to be in Arizona getting on a plane. I can't really see myself being one of those retired guys that hangs out in Arizona anyway. I'd rather just visit there. The reason I came here, mountains, streams, the breweries, better weather, less traffic, lower home prices, all of the above.
Not that lower. Not that
okay.
much lower.
Okay. It's just like Pullman, where we get upset if someone rips on Pullman. We even rip on Pullman sometimes. It's okay for us to rip on Pullman, right? But if someone else rips on Pullman, it's like, hey man, don't be ripping our hometown. I feel the same way about Seattle. I grew up in Redmond. Seattle's always going to be my hometown, but I don't miss it. You really, when you leave, you don't miss it. You don't. Yeah. At least I haven't. Traffic, the home, but it costs, an arm and a leg to live there. So
sure does. Yeah.
God, I'm just so negative. I'll be more positive. I mean,
no. But
the Mariners won 9-1. I'm going to try and, liven up the show a little bit.
But it excites you a little bit when you look around and you go, you know what? People like me.
I don't think that. I didn't move here because I thought, geez, I want to live with a bunch of Caucasians. I didn't. I honestly did not think that. And when you were the first one to tell me, I would come down here for golf tournaments 17 years in a row. I played in the Pac-Am out of Sun River. And I did not, when I was here, I noticed pine trees. I noticed juniper. I noticed the high desert landscape, the mountains, the water, the nice golf courses. I didn't look around and go, God, there's a lot of people who look like me around here. I honest to God didn't think that.
But I tell you what, it's because I've said this before. It is a, it's gotten younger though, but especially now it's skewed because a lot of families move down there. But it's a 30 to 45-year-old kind of white person, spring break permanent residence.
Well, it does it. Here's what I was wondering. I don't know. Okay. I don't know if you're old enough to remember the Stepford Wives. I mean, does it seem like almost too like robotic or too clean or
sure, because there's a real
something like it's kind of make believe. Like
because there's a manufactured look to it. There's a because let me say there is now I think not all fit this description, but there is now in Bend, and it's a wonderful place. I'd move there in a second. It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
So you don't blame me, even though you're ripping.
No, I'm just making fun of it. There is a character though that lives there now. A character. They're not even a real person. It's a character. It's a character that looks a certain way. Wears his clothes a certain way.
The Patagonia vest.
Patagonia, drives a certain vehicle. A lot of it's Sprinter vans. And it's, talking about, hey, went up to Bachelor today to ski. I'm going to probably mountain bike a little bit at Phil's. I mean, it's just.
Oh, yeah, Phil's Trails or whatever. Sure.
There's a character that's almost from a movie that has fit the Bend description. You know what they look like. I mean, it's just, stands out.
It's just like even the guy that, is putting together our outdoor furniture. And, people are probably like, well, God, Moore, can't you put together your own outdoor furniture? And I was like, yeah, I can, but I'm retired and I have a hard time with computers. You think I'm going to be able to put outdoor furniture today? The guy put together one of those, propane little heater things yesterday for $60. And I'm going, God, that was worth it to me.
Hey, of course.
But he fits the mold too, because he goes, hey man, let me show you what I did the other day. And then he'll show me, pictures of his dog with him on, Smith Rock. Yeah. And then he'll show me pictures with his dog when he's skiing up at Bachelor. You can do all that on the same day.
Yeah, it was great. No, we had a wonderful time. I'm going to tell you right now, anybody that's ever going to travel down there, if you're going for a sporting event or non-sporting event, or just want to have a place to stay, and I should get a comp night there for what I'm about to do. River House Lodge in Bend is one of the most fabulous places to stay. Wonderful. Right on the river there. It's the property split in two. There's a bridge that crosses over from one side of the property to the other side. There's a great restaurant, a fabulous bar. There's 2 pools, outdoor fire pits everywhere. Hell, on one side of the property, there's a whole fire pit that's real wood. You can go out there and burn wood all night. I'm going to tell you right now, this trip was, the baseball was fun, and that's great, and that's why you're down there. Hell, this was like Vegas for parents. I mean, my God, I think it was up every single night, just in the wee hours of the morning.
Well, that's one of the things too, is I know I live here now, but I feel like I'm on a permanent vacation.
Yes. I think many people are like that there. And I think the work ethic of people that work there highlight that.
The work ethic? Yeah. How about the part? Did you drive around and see? Did you drive around and see the town at all?
Well, I've seen the town. I've been there a million times.
Are you good with the roundabouts? Because like my kids complain about the roundabouts. I'm going, well, how do you feel sitting at a red light?
Yeah, the roundabouts are fine. I've been there a million times. It's all good.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Fine. It was great. We went to what was the sandwich place? It was really
Don't
good.
tell me you went to Boss Taurus and got a free meal.
We did. Yeah, we did.
What? You got it comped?
Yeah, of course.
And you're telling me you couldn't help me out with that?
Oh, I can't do that for you.
You can't do that.
I can only pull it for myself.
Really?
No, I didn't go. I didn't have time for that. It was dinner every night with the team and pizza at the pool and all that kind of stuff.
The only thing I don't like about Bend is I think, as my dad would say, they've gotten a little bit too big for their britches here sometimes. Because when you go to the restaurants, you feel like you're in Seattle when you look at the menu.
Of course. Yeah, absolutely. It's no joke, but wonderful. And I'm going to tell you, the people that put on the tournament, I think West Coast Premier, just a fabulous job. There was like, Jim, there was like 300 teams there. It was insane.
I heard that.
It was.
Yeah.
It was.
Were the parks okay where you played?
All right, we played all of our games in Redmond, and they were good. There was one park that was kind of bad, but then the other ones were fabulous. Great little league fields. First time that these boys had ever played on a grass infield.
Really? Okay. I shouldn't say really, because most of the infields.
No one has that anymore.
No.
Name me a little league in Seattle or the surrounding area that has a grass infield, a real grass infield.
Yeah. I remember the first time my kids got excited because we played at Honeydew Elementary, played Little League at where kids play at recess. And it was just, a field without a fence. Yeah. Every Little League park should have a fence.
Yes, and these all did.
Even if it's a portable fence, but I can still remember Mikey and Stevie, we played a game in the Rainier Valley and they had the portable fence, but that was the first thing they said. It was like, Dad, look, this field has a fence. You got to have a fence. You shouldn't have a Little League home run where the ball is a grounder between first and second and you just run around the bases for a home run.
I'm with you on that. I saw plenty of balls leave the park, man. Maybe the elevation, the heat, because it was hot as hell down there. But man, there was some kids just belting the ball out of the park.
Yeah, from your team.
We did not hit one. We got close a couple times, but from other teams, yeah. So,
how'd the Vampire do?
He did really well. Yeah. He pitched one time, threw the ball great. Threw in like 3 innings. He had a couple runs. Picked 2 guys off.
Yeah,
which is good. Yeah, he's a
nice.
sneaky little pitcher on the mound to pick people off. He's got he's
a right-hander too, so that's even more impressive.
Picked the guy up at first and then back picked the guy at second. He does a little Nestor Cortez little leg kick. He actually does his pickoff move at second. Well, he won't pick it off, but he'll turn almost his whole body to second. You know what I'm talking about? When a guy runners at second, and then he comes home, but the runner is so confused because he thinks he's going to throw back to him.
It's a good job of keeping him close to the base too.
He's fairly good at that. And laid down old man baseball. Laid down a fabulous bunt in one game too.
Nice,
a nice bunt single. It was a great time. And you've been through all that stuff before, and I've been through it with gymnastics, so it's not like it's new to me. It's a new sport. But when you go and travel and you get to know the parents of the kids, you get to know the kids more. There's just these stuff. There's nothing better than it. You get done with the game in the afternoon, you have dinner, and then everyone sits around the pool fire pit, and you're, having drinks for a couple of hours, just shooting the shit. It's a blast. It's never lost on me how much fun it is.
Well, good. I mean, enjoy every minute of it, because when it stops, I still miss it. This was the first year without baseball with my kids playing this year. And you miss it. All those trips. It's so much fun. You think about, like, it doesn't matter if it's San Diego or Bend or Wenatchee or Yakima. It just doesn't matter. You get together like you're talking about. You have a couple beers around the fire pit. You talk about yesterday's game. You talk about your next game. And you talk about it like you're in World Series Game 3 and Game 4 tomorrow.
you have to remind yourself, God, what, we're talking about 11-year-olds here. Like, what are we doing? But
it's a big deal when your kids do well and you win a
of course
tournament.
it is. Of course it is. It's a massive big deal. It's everything. So it was just a fabulous time. Can't wait to go back and do it again next year. We've got a very important interview that's coming up. You and I caught up with Corey Widman, who has a son, Reese, who passed away, took his own life. Steilacoom High School. You brought this to me. I'd heard about this before. I saw the King 5 story on it, but May is Mental Awareness Month, and so I know you've known Corey for a long time, or last few years. Your boys and Reese were supposed to play baseball together at Pierce Junior College, and that was, we recorded this morning. That was a tough one. I mean, there was many times that I was pretty emotional, taken aback, and it was hard to keep it in. And I think for Corey, it's Jim, you brought it up to him. That's everyone's worst nightmare as a parent, right? Is that your son or daughter, your child takes their own life. And Corey and his wife Kelly are going through that right now, and that's just tragic.
And Puck, it's no matter how your kid dies, your kid isn't supposed to die before you do. That's just an unwritten rule. And the parents that have to go through that, it's difficult enough when that happens from an accident or cancer or something else. But when your kid takes his own life, like Reese did, then you're left with the rest of your life going, what could I have done? I asked Corey one time, I didn't ask him today in the interview about, regrets. Are you able to ever get over, regrets? Like, what could I have done? What should I have done? What could I have done differently? And he said, yeah, we live with those every day. You don't get over those.
Well, because of course, right? Of course. Like why did I not see the signs earlier? What could I have done better as a parent? Where did I fail as a parent? And that's the hardest thing, because I don't think the parents fail. I
don't either. So the supposed warning signs, and he talked about, they just thought it was the ups and downs of a teenager.
That's what makes it so scary for me. Having a teenager now, an 11-year-old getting older, is when do you know that something is wrong, opposed to they're just going through the teenage years, where you don't want to talk to your parents. Because we all went through that. We all went through that. That moment of like, your parents bother you, don't talk to me kind of phase. It does, for some, it doesn't last long, but how do you know as a parent that it's a phase or something else is going on? Difficult.
And then what's really unusual to me is like someone who takes his own life, a kid, and Holinsky, we talked about him too. Sure. And what went through that over there in Pullman with him. And on the outside, even though they're so depressed that they take their own life, you don't see it on the outside. They do a great job of acting like everything is okay when it's not. And
and you see that, I think, and you also see that a lot, don't you? With comedians or actors, you think of like Robin Williams or somebody like that, that the people that make you laugh, the people that seem happy, the people that seem that they have life in the palm of their hand, that nothing should worry them, actors, famous, whatever. But a lot of times that is, they're hiding something, through comedy, through laughter, through trying to bring other people up, is that you just don't know what is going on with an individual. Only that individual knows. So you don't know the pain that they're going through, and they have a bad day, or I don't know. So it's hard. And I listened to Corey today, and I've heard Mark Holinsky talk many times about, checking in and being present, all these things. And I'm like, yeah, but is that even enough? Like, I don't know if that's enough. I think sometimes you listen to these parents talk and you're like, but you did all that. And it still happened. That's what is very, very scary as a parent.
Well, yeah. And, I've talked to Corey several times at Pierce games last year when Mikey was still playing. Stevie was done, but Mikey was still playing. And, for him to show up there and watch these games, and then this year to be a coach on the staff and think about, those are 2 years that his son should have been there. And I'm not sure how he does it. And the thing I hadn't heard from him before that you'll hear in the interview is he and his wife were the first ones to get to the accident scene, and they were the ones that saw their son. And I just assumed that it was, a 911 call. There was an accident there on I think the DuPont Silicon Road or wherever it was, that, that the firemen got there, the emergency people got there. But, to hear that the parents got there first, and then also to hear that he wrote these notes, sounded like separate notes to both his dad and his mom, and, hoping that they could help others out. And so I think Corey, I know that he's devoting the rest of his life to try and help others and try and avoid what he and his wife have been through.
So we're gonna. So let's do this. Jim and I caught up with Corey earlier today. Let's play this interview. It's about 20 minutes, and then why don't you stick around and we can talk about a little bit afterwards. Ryan Divish is coming up a little bit later there as well. But this was. I mean, we've done interview. I've never done an interview like this. I've never talked to a parent that had a son or daughter take their own life, and so this was difficult, but not as difficult as Corey to talk about it and to recap the story. But I think what Corey hopes, and again, May is mental health awareness month, and we'll give some information about Reese and his foundation and how you can support it and how you can get involved after you hear from Corey Widman, who, again, his son, Reese, Steilacoom High School, was a senior, took his own life. He was going to play baseball at Pierce Junior College there with Jim's kids. And again, it's one of these stories where the warning signs were there, but not there. Happy kid, outgoing, all of it. But it's sometimes in these situations, you never know. Here he is, myself, Jim, Corey Widman from earlier today. Very special guest joining us now, Corey Widman, with us here on the program. And Corey's got a very important story to tell, especially in the month of May, Mental Awareness Month. And Corey, I appreciate the time and you carving it out to join us today. How are you?
Oh, I'm not doing too bad. How are you guys doing?
We're doing pretty good. I've heard of your story with your son, Reese. I know there's going to be somebody watching and listening right now that don't know the story about your son. I'll give the Cliff Notes version, but then I just want to kind of turn it over to you.
Sure.
17-year-old son, baseball kid, played a lot of sports, happy kid. But again, like a lot of kids in today's society, battling a lot of depression, ended up taking his own life at the age of 17. Yeah. Take the story from there if you can, because it's very powerful to tell the story to make sure that parents and kids alike just understand that there's help out there.
Yeah, like you said, normal kid, really good baseball player. Steilacoom High School, is committed to Pierce and played at new level, and he unfortunately on January 7th of 2023 ended his own life. My wife and I, we have a kind of a Reese's timeline. And in February of 2020, Reese was diagnosed with epilepsy and put on medication. And then immediately after that, COVID hit. So he's dealing with a new, life change. And then COVID and being isolated from his friends and school and sports and stuff. And having to deal with this epilepsy diagnosis. On the spring of 2021, after he had been on this medicine for a year, it was causing severe pancreatitis, and we had to have him switch to a different medication. And this medication ultimately is what we believe led to that decision that was made on January 7th. You have to have a certain therapeutic dose to be able to operate a motor vehicle in Washington. And Reese was on this medicine for a year. And I think it was in the summer of 2022, they upped the medication to get on a therapeutic dose. And this is when probably we, hindsight being 2020, saw some things that weren't very Reese-like. I mean, he was always a happy kid. Even when he was grumpy and mad and upset, he was still one of those people that you wanted to be around, had a lot of charisma, very charming, very entertaining. I mean, he was a people person, and he could fit with anybody. But as the summer went on, you would see kind of maybe like mood swings. But Reese was a late bloomer. We didn't think anything of it other than, he's a late bloomer, teenage boy, trying to figure things out. And then probably in November of 22, that's when we saw like the biggest change in his attitude. Was he started to withdraw from the family a little bit more. And when I say family, me and Kelly, I mean, he would hang out with us, watch movies, dinner and stuff. Still was hanging out with his buddies, going to practice and stuff, but he just kind of got a little bit more quiet. And when you would ask him about, hey, everything okay? Yeah, I'm fine. Just gotta figure some things out. And hey, he's a young man going to be graduating, going to play college baseball. You wanted to give him his space while, still being in the comfort of home. And then, December happens. And I think the biggest red flag looking back for Kelly and I was when he stopped, confiding in Kelly. Kelly was his person. He told her everything, and when, girls, whatever, I mean, sports, anything. And when he stopped talking to her and giving her the canned statement of, I just need to figure things out, that looking back on the day was probably, a bigger red flag for us, now than it was then. He ended up, writing us notes and sent us a text that night and said, hey, been kind of struggling for the past year. And, Kel and I get the text and, we track his car and we're the first ones at the site and tried to, save him. And he was gone. I mean, unfortunate and very heartbreaking and, spare you some of the details. But since then, we've kind of done some studying, some reading, and the medication that you take for epilepsy kind of causes depression, suicidal ideation, abnormal thoughts. And I think that, since 2020, he'd been on this medicine for almost 3 years. I think it just kind of got to him, put him in a bad spot where he thought, there wasn't hope. And one of the analogies that we were given are, it's, like being on top of a burning building and all you can see is the fire and the smoke, but you can't see everybody at the bottom of the building trying to help you out. And Reese was, very loved, very well thought of. I mean, in the wake of his passing, we started a non-for-profit called Whitty's Work, where we try to advocate for, good mental health awareness and, taking care of yourself. Cause I mean, if you broke an arm, you'd go and, get yourself help, or if you were sick, you'd take medicine. And, the brain is just like any other organ in the body. I know that Reese didn't want epilepsy and he didn't want, mental health issues any more than, somebody with Alzheimer's or cancer, wants those diseases, and it's something that I've been very, proactive trying to get people to change how they think. Cause even now, I mean, you have guys that they think they have to be the alpha male all the time and can't show vulnerability and weakness. And Reese was very much that. He was, one of our captains on our team and a leader in the community. And I think, he filled his cup by filling other people's cups. He was always making sure other people were doing fine and well. And I think that made him feel better. But I think it also, he neglected himself and his feelings.
Corey, how difficult is it being mental health awareness month for other parents You know, because it seems like there's warning signs, but not really. I mean, you can't really, like, I just, everything in your story talking about teenagers. My kids aren't teenagers anymore, but they were not too long ago. And yeah, it just seems like normal stuff going on in their lives. And how do you differentiate between that and something more serious?
Well, I mean, I think so in the wake of Reese passing, we've done a program called Teen Mental Health and First Aid. And when I took it shortly after Reese passed, there was a bunch of criteria, you know, where you look for kids that are isolating, you know, the way they talk, the way their mood changes, the way they eat, whether they're eating more, eating less, sleeping more, sleeping less. I mean, all of these things really tie into being a normal teenager. And again, Jim, like we've known each other for a couple of years. Our boys were supposed to play baseball together at Pierce, and you know, at the time we didn't know. It was shocking to us because he did such a good job of carrying on. You know, our family has a kind of a dark sense of humor, but it was never, you know, like that. He would, you know, we jokes and stuff, and there was never anything telling. I mean, again, looking back at it after the fact, there weren't very many red flags, you know, and it's hard. I don't know. I mean, there's in this course they talk about the kid that isolates themselves, sits at the lunch table alone, doesn't have very many friends, but you know. I'm sitting in this class and I'm going, well, that wasn't Reese. Reese was, you know, popular and outgoing, and, you know, nobody in 100 years would have thought that he was struggling and dealing with things. It is difficult, and it is about educating yourself as a parent, looking for the things you probably shouldn't be looking for. You know, how are your kids talking and acting, and are they withdrawn from their friends' activities? You know, again, Reese he didn't do this. He went to practice every day and went to school every day. And, you know, there wasn't anything like that. It was just really the withdrawal from Kelly, you know, and then the last 2 weeks it was, you know, he was just very, very quiet. You know, that was it.
From the classes, Corey, and people that you talked to, what did they tell you about, you know, because he left you a note and a letter, and this is what was happening. This was what I was dealing with. And you know, he passed it on, you know, to you guys for others to seek help, but yet didn't use his own advice to seek help.
Correct.
What did they tell you about that? Because I'm sure, I know Reese is not the only one that that dealt with that or went through that. And what did they tell you, some experts that you spoke with? What do they tell you what the cause of that is, or why? Because I'm sure that's a question you're asking that you and Kelly have asked a lot, is why? Why did you not reach out to us?
Yeah, pride, stubbornness. I mean, for as great of a kid that Reese is, he was stubborn. I mean, you know, I want to say probably a couple weeks before he ultimately passed, you know, Kelly and I asked him, hey, would you go to counseling? And, you know, you don't have to talk to us. Would you want to talk to somebody else? And he's like, nah, that's not for me, you know. And Kelly and I, we've seen a counselor, you know, throughout our marriage to help us communicate and stuff. And so it wasn't like it was abnormal for Reese to be offered that, because, you know, he saw his parents going to counseling. I think there's something in the brain that just maybe sometimes it blocks you from doing what is right. I mean, in the note that he left to his high school baseball team at Stillicum, he left the quote of "do what I couldn't do and get help." I mean, he told these guys, you know, hey, you know, life is hard. People struggle with things all the time. No shame. And in Reese's, you know, final moments, he was thinking of other people and why he couldn't help himself. I don't know. I think he was just so far into the depression and the wanting to be better. And this is how he thought, he could end his pain and agony,
Corey, what about the other parents who have experienced what you and Kelly have experienced? How do you go through each day? It's a parent's worst nightmare what you're living through right now.
Oh, I mean, every day is hard. I mean, we came up with the one day at a time for Whitty. He wore number 14 at Stillicum, and less than 2.5 months after he passed, I decided to be out there for the community and help them and guide them through this. And we came up with the one for Whitty, one day at a time for Whitty, and literally every day is you wake up and I tell the boys on the baseball team or anybody that I come in contact with that's struggling is, hey, your goal is to get to the end of the day, and then go to sleep and get up and you try to grind out another day, and that's how I'm living is, just one day at a time for him. I mean, he asked Kelly and I in the note he left us to help as many people as we could, make sure that, nobody else hurts themselves and to do good. And he told Kelly in her note, go be great.
Mm. Corey, Whitty's work. Talk to us more about that, and just let our audience know more about how they can help out if they go to whittyswork.com. Is there the foundation? There's a baseball tournament that you guys have scheduled or have done, and so just for those people that would like to help out or read more information, whittyswork.com, and what's available there, and what do you guys have planned here in the near future for him?
Well, I mean, our yearly events are we go down to the 4th of July street fair at Stillicum and we set up a booth and try to raise money, raise awareness for our foundation. We give out scholarships to Stillicum and Pierce students. Kelly and I make ourselves readily available for any sports team, school, organization that wants to talk about mental health awareness and hear Reese's, message of, do what I couldn't do and get help. In July, we have a baseball tournament that actually Top Tier hosts. And, I think last year we had 120 teams and, got to, interact with people in our community that we otherwise wouldn't. And I would like to say this about the baseball community. It's very big, but it's been very loving to us, And then in August, we do a Stomp Out the Stigma run at Ford Stillicum. And those are our three, main events that, fuels the scholarships. But Kelly and I try to get out there and we do, information fairs when people have outreach opportunities. We'll set up booths and just kind of be present in the community as much as we can. Wherever people want to invite us to go, we'll go. It's really just that simple. Just trying to be present and showing people our grief and our son's story, and letting them know that, hey, we didn't think anything like this could happen to us or happen to our son, but it can happen to you. You got to be aware of how you feel. And I know that sounds weird, but any medications you put in your body, make sure you're reading the side effects. I mean, we were warned, but I think I'd become desensitized over the years. This medication can cause this can cause that. And it never really did. And, they said that, hey, this is a rare side effect of this medication. And I was one of those people. I was like, not my kid, and then here I am today, my kid.
Hey, Corey, the last thing I have for you, I remember there was a game at Pierce that I was watching for a little while with you, and Mikey, I think, made an error out in left field, and I was disappointed, for him that, that happened. And then I remember just thinking, I caught myself and I thought, God, I bet, that you, Corey, wishes your kid was out there able to make an error. And I remember apologizing to you, and you was like, no, Jim, no, that's okay. What I'm wondering is that you coached at Pierce this year.
Yes.
And I just, how are you able to, because like I maybe would want to run away and not do that. And yet you felt maybe that it was important to coach there at Pierce, and you must have had a lot of mixed emotions about that, thinking about your son not being there.
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm not going to lie. It was hard. It was, bittersweet. I mean, last year or it would have been his freshman year. Coach Kevin Davis offered, hey, do you want to come out and, be around the program? And I said, yeah, I might like that. But, it was tough going out there and watching a team and, watching these guys that he should be playing with play. And then when I got past that, Kevin asked me again this year, which would have been Reese's sophomore year. He was like, hey, I'd like you to come out and just be around. I think you can show some of these guys a different kind of tough. I mean, I think, most athletes are, like I said, alpha males, nothing hurts me, nothing gets me down. And at the start of the year in the fall, it was very difficult. I'd gone through a couple years of coaching at Stillicum and didn't throw one batting practice ball, didn't hit one fungo. And at Pierce, I decided to do that. But there's 16, 17 new level guys that he had grown up and played with over the years. And it was just a little bit more comfortable. And, when I needed to cry, they let me cry. And, when I wanted to tell jokes, and they let me do that. And then when I wanted to talk about Reese, they listened, those boys were very good to me this year. Good young men.
What's your favorite part about just being a baseball dad with Reese? What do you miss about it the most?
I mean, just watching him grow over the years. He went from a little chubby guy to getting in high school, and then thinning out and becoming really an athlete and a competitor. I loved watching him pitch. He was a very, very good pitcher. I mean, throwing 88 miles an hour and could snap a curve and throw a slider, pretty good. I mean, I think he had a chance to move on to a bigger, better college after JUCO as he progressed. But watching him play the game, and even when he failed, it was still fun to watch. It was because he enjoyed it. I mean, baseball was his getaway, his sanctuary. He loved being out there with the guys. Loved showing them how to do things through his actions rather than his words. But don't get me wrong, if there was a prank to be played or a joke to be made, he was the guy to do that. And a lot of the times that got him in trouble. But hey, you know what? You do things for laughs, right?
Yeah, we do. Whittieswork.com is the website. Do what I couldn't do. Get help was a quote Reese had. National Suicide Prevention Line, 988. Again, that's 988. And if you take away anything from this interview with Corey, and your parent, do the best you can. Check in as much as possible. Always check in with your kids. And I think for kids, if you watch and listen to this, and even for adults, reach out. It's okay to ask for help, right, Corey? It's okay to ask for help. I think we've grown up within a society where it's not okay, but it's getting better in terms of that. So ask for help when you can. Corey, thank you so much for sharing your story. Jim and I really appreciate it.
Jason, Jim, I appreciate it. Thank you very much. You guys have a great day.
Thanks, Corey. Best to Kelly too.
Yep, I'll let her know. Thank you, guys.
There's Corey Widman, who was again with us earlier today. Jim and I caught up with Corey and taped it this morning, and just watching and listening back to it, Jim, it's it's so heartbreaking. So absolutely heartbreaking.
Yeah, it's, Puck, we talked about it. I've gotten, to know Corey a little bit over the last couple of years, and you can't imagine. As a parent, it's not supposed to happen. You have regrets. You wonder what you could have done differently, and just to get up every day. I think he's got a good approach, all things considered, of trying to get through one day at a time. I mean, I bet you he takes 1 hour at a time at times too, because it's the only thing that I think a parent would not consider suicide themselves, over something like that.
Absolutely. Right. I mean, because what you have all these dreams and visions of your family moving forward, of getting older and watching your son or daughter grow older with you. And then, there's one thing, and you said it earlier, you never as a parent want to outlive your kids. And then I think when, a child loses their life because of taking it on, taking it themselves, that's even, more difficult to deal with. Reese, again, it was an intentional car accident. He took his life back in 2023. He was 17. He was a senior, Steilacoom High School. He was going to play college baseball at Pierce Community College there, where Jim's kids played. And it's just, one of those stories that we hear all the time too. It's that the happiest kid in the room, outgoing, popular, having fun all the time. No real signs other than, as Corey said in the interview, kind of towards the end, getting a little bit more distant. And, and Corey, and I think any parent dealing with this, you chalk it up to the same thing. Oh, it's just a teenager being a teenager. No, they're just up in the room and not hanging out with friends. Oh, maybe they're just tired. But, I guess it's just trying to be as present as you possibly can at every moment of the day. I mean, in one of the stories, I think it was King 5 did it when they talked, and I think Corey touched on it too. Talked about the research that the University of Washington did. I mean, study on suicide and the suicide rate in this country among college athletes, second leading cause of death, Jim, right now among college athletes. It has doubled over the past 20 years.
Yeah, it's mind-boggling, Puck. It really is. Like, I was just flashing on thinking about Tyler Helinski taking his own life, and outwardly you look at him and you're thinking, hey man, you're going to be a Division I starting quarterback next year. It was his job. He was going to be the guy. He was the one that led us back against Boise State in the fourth quarter. And, you just looked at it and you thought, boy, he's got the world by its tail here. Yeah. And so, you just don't know. And, I remember after hearing about Reese and what happened and getting to know his dad, I started checking in with my kids a little more than I had before. And, finally, Mikey got tired of me checking in with him. And he was like, Dad, I'm not going to kill myself. Okay. And I'm just like, well, okay, I want to just, at least if I want to go too far instead of not far enough with being a dad and asking questions. So I don't know, man. It's just, I just put myself in Corey's shoes, and I don't know how he makes it through every day. And I guess a big part of it, though, is trying to help others. And I like to think that that's what I would do, Puck. That's probably what you would do. So and the Helinski Foundation, what they're doing, Helinski's Hope, that's all you can do, is that you're trying to help others so they don't have to go through what you went through.
Yeah. Yeah, very difficult. It's something that I think about. I mean, I don't think about it a lot, but I think often. And it just reminded me of it, today and talking to Corey. I mean, I sent a note to my son today. Just, hey, just checking in, just making sure if you ever feel anything, man, just please let me know. Because, kids, and maybe especially with dads, I found it interesting that Corey talked about how, Reese would check in more with mom. And that's probably commonplace, I would think, in most families. Moms are sometimes probably easier to talk to. Yeah, I mean, Mikey and Stevie and I,
we talk about sports. That's mostly what we talk about.
Yeah. So they probably reach out to mom and be like, this is what I'm feeling. And my kids probably do the same thing. And I understand that. And, but, I think it's maybe just trying to send them another message and another reminder. Hey, it's, it just doesn't matter what it is. You can always talk. Yeah, it's, that was hard. That was a hard one. I'm glad you brought it though to my attention, to our attention. So I think it was important important to do.
Yeah. It would always amaze me to see him at so many Pierce games when I went, because he and his wife would walk in, they'd sit in the stands, and I'd, say hello or, have short conversations with them. And, just imagining, they're watching these games thinking their son should be out there. And I have a feeling I might not have wanted to be there, but, for them, that's what they wanted to do. We all grieve differently. We all know that.
Yeah, absolutely. You do. And, I think if you see your kids tonight and, just hug them a little tighter, tell them you love them a little bit more if you can. And, just, think of those families out there that don't have their kids for whatever reason, a variety of reasons that they've lost their lives. So, thank you to Corey for sharing that story. I mean, I know he's shared that before and he's done, several interviews, but still, I think every time you do it, and, probably, feels good to talk about his son, but also probably hurts still at the same time.
Well, it was really important to him, though. I mean, he's a teacher. He had to rearrange his schedule, but it didn't matter to him when you wanted to do this interview. He wanted to do it. So I'm glad that you were accommodating, and
Sure.
Boy, he was so forthright in telling the story.
Yeah. Again, WiddysWork.com. That's WIDDYS work.com. WiddysWork.com is the website. You can find a bunch of information up there on the website. It tells the story of Reese. A great tab on resources about mental health resources. Some down in the South End. Obviously, if people don't know, the suicide crisis, hotline, the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline, which is open 24 hours a day, is 988. The Pierce County Crisis Line, 1-800-576-7764. So give them a call. If you're ever having, anything that you need to talk to somebody. So, because there's people there to help. That's the thing. There's always people there to help. And I just thought about the note that he left his team, but his parents, where he was telling them, hey, make sure people get help. I couldn't get help. And I don't know how difficult that would be to read.
Oh,
and not just say, why didn't you just ask for help? You were here.
No, yeah. And then to read that, and then, to go to the scene of the accident and, to see that your son had already died and there was nothing you could do. Just heartbreaking.
Yeah. I hope it was, we didn't do a lot of sports today. We talked about Jim's new virtual background, which is fabulous. His new microphone, great. He's just top notch. Is that actually your background or is that somebody else?
It went from a virtual background to whatever the hell you call this. No, that's not my couch. That's not my front door. I don't play the piano. Okay. I don't even know how that came up. It looks nice though.
It does look nice. Well, I think it was Mikey did it. Mikey did a great job.
Yeah.
So
hey, I'll try and work those kinks out.
I know you're good. Hey, before you go, because I have it on the rundown, I'm going to talk to Ryan Divish here in a moment. Should we be talking about the Mariners? Hey, great win last night. How upset were you with Dan Wilson to not let Logan Evans finish it?
I was surprised by that, but there was somebody that I work with named Jason Puckett who at that very moment was like, hey, let's test your computer. And so I wasn't able to, sit outside and watch my outdoor TV to see how that went. But Mikey came in and he goes, God, Dad, they're not letting Evans finish that out. And I go, they're not? Because he was at 88 pitches and they had a huge lead. Yeah. Why not just let the kid, go to 100? Go to 100, and if he, and I know that they'd say, well, he's a young guy, and look at the injuries we've had to deal with. We don't want to deal with injuries with him. Well, still, it would have been really cool if he'd gotten the complete game. I still think complete games are cool. They used to be commonplace back in the day, but not so much anymore.
They're very cool. Still to this day, even though you're right, it's not commonplace. It's a badge of honor for a pitcher. He's the only pitcher to go to the 8th inning this year for the Mariners.
Yeah. And what's cool too, old school baseball, old school pitching where, hey, you pitch to contact. Sometimes it works out for you.
You know what? It's as a father of a pitch to contact son, there's nothing wrong with pitching to contact.
And I know this too. I don't care what level you're at. you enjoy, if you're one of the position players, you enjoy playing behind a pitcher who's a pitch to contact kind of pitcher because you're always ready. I think even when a guy's striking everybody out, all of a sudden the ball's coming at you and you're going, oh shit, he didn't strike this guy out.
You're right. But I also think too, in today's modern day of baseball, which is, there's, it is, when there's a lot of strikeouts, I think it can get fairly boring. Not fairly. It can get boring. I like seeing the ball put in play, not only because, watching it from an offensive perspective, but what you just highlighted, I like watching it from a defensive perspective. I like these guys make incredible defensive plays and the range that some of these athletes have nowadays. I mean, I even saw it at the youth level this past weekend. I mean, plays that, Jim, when we were 11, we simply were not making. Mm-hmm. We're not making these plays. And, just it's fun to watch. Fun to watch, fun to watch baseball execution. I mean, just, great baseball execution, from the youth level all the way to the pros. So, yeah, I like it. I think you're right. I think the defense likes to make plays and, throw it around a little bit rather than a guy striking everyone out.
Yeah. Now I got a kick out of it because Luke Arkins from Mariners Consigliere, I think is how you pronounce it, his blog, and he put out there that the hard hit rate was, in other words, there were quite a few hard hit balls last night that happened to go right at people, so there was some luck involved. But he also recognized that was a good outing by Logan Evans, and
I want to get into the hard hit rate and luck. I really don't. I just.
Well, I think
I'm just going to tell you, there's two things that really suck the fucking fun out of baseball: hard hit rate and luck. When I hear that,
okay. Let us know how you really felt about it.
No disrespect to Luke. I know it's a very viable stat, but it's just like, okay. Yeah. Sometimes the defense positions themselves in a spot where they know they're going to hit it, so it's not luck.
Well, I guarantee that managers like Dan Wilson enjoy watching this, pitch to contact that Logan Evans was doing last night, especially when you watch Castillo sometimes. Now, Castillo's been terrific overall. Sure. But a lot of times he's in the fourth inning and he's at 70 or 80 pitches, and you're going, oh my God.
I'd rather have a guy, instead of striking out, I mean, let's throw one pitch, ground out to short. Let's go. Way more enjoyable. All right. You sound good. Thanks for getting this all together. Thanks for getting the microphone up and working. Big shout out to Mikey for helping you out. Mikey Moore is today. You know what? That's going to be the title of the show today. Mikey Moore, MVP.
MVP. Okay, I'll let him know. He'll be excited about that.
Let him know.
I had to get him out of the hot tub to come back in and help me with that. By the way, he's got a tough life. Yeah, he's in the hot tub with his girlfriend, and then he's got his dad coming out going, hey, can you come help your old dad, with this computer issue?
Jesus.
You were happy to see him on the screen, weren't you?
I love Mikey. Was he?
No, but you were happy that it wasn't me and that it was a younger person that was trying to figure out the problem. I have
always wondered when they're there why we just don't dip into the resources of the youngins to help you out, because they know everything. Especially
well, we dipped in hard today. So
he's dipping in hard right now in that hot tub. I'll tell you that.
As long as it's, I know where you're going with that. I was just thinking, God, don't be talking about dipping in hard with my kid. You can do it with other people's kids, but go ahead.
Not my kid.
It's easier when it's a son, though. But when it's a daughter, you really want to steer clear of that.
Yes, no.
Like your son, you're like, yeah, okay, get all you can, but
hands off.
Yeah.
Hands off, my friend.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what? Check out. Maybe you've already checked out this brewery, but we went there on Monday. Good Life Brewery.
Good Life. Okay.
Good one. It's a good one, really. Good Life Brewing.
Yeah.
You'd like it.
When you moving?
Yeah, that ship sailed.
I know you want to move. I don't know where you want to move to. Oh, San Diego is always number one.
San Diego, but Bend's right there. I do enjoy myself some Bend, Oregon. Really do. Really do.
It's not bad here.
Like-minded people, and they look the right way. You know what I mean?
It's not bad. I'm steering clear of that too. God, why do you always try and get yourself in trouble?
Oh, because I think it's.
Because I know you're not a racist. I know you're not.
I just think it's funny. I'm just goofing around. You know what we did? The best thing we did this week before we played a game on Saturday. One of the dads, shout out to Jason, Dad Jason, father of Coleman, who's a hell of a center fielder. God, he's a great center fielder. I mean, fabulous. Brought his fly fishing rods. He's got the boys out in the Deschutes. Well, no, that wasn't the Deschutes. I can't remember what river it was.
Crooked River?
What river? Is it the Deschutes that flows through the Tumalo State Park?
I think so. Or it might be Tumalo Creek.
Maybe it's Tumalo Creek. Anyway, he's got him out there with fly fishing and teaching the boys how to fly fish. Well, it was awesome. It's great. So much
That's
fun.
cool.
Yeah, it was really good.
Yeah.
All right. Signing off. We'll see you Friday.
You still want me?
Wish, of course, but I don't know if you got something. Hey, I'm driving to Boise for another wedding.
No, I got nothing
Good?
going on Friday, so
Okay.
I'll be here.
Okay,
All
we'll see you Friday then.
Okay, go Cougs, Buck.
Oh, Cougs. There he is. Jim Moore, ladies and gentlemen, Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays with us here on the Daily Puck Drop. All right, let's talk a little bit more baseball. We didn't get to the Polanco worries here in a quick second, but I do want to share something. Divish and I talked briefly about it, but Jorge Polanco in the month of May, we knew that he was going to drop off. He was never going to keep it up at the rate he was hitting, but the drop-off now is significant in May, and hopefully it turns it around. My gut would say this has something to do more with the injuries. We knew about the oblique, maybe the knees acting up again, but so far in 19 games in May, Jorge Polanco has put up a slash line of 155, 234, 241, 476. So it has not been a good month of May there for Jorge Polanco. And I wonder, Divish and I talk a little bit about it on this week's show, which will play a portion of it. Again, the full show available for Puck's Posse members. Go to pucksports.com, sign up today, and join $5 a month, and you will get the full Ryan Divish podcast. But could Jorge Polanco, if he's not healthy, find himself on an IL stint? And that then opens up the door for Cole Young in Tacoma. Here's this week's show with Ryan Divish, brought to you by Chalet Bowl. That was, right, of Mariners baseball. There was some good, there was some bad. Obviously, what was transpired in Houston was not good. I mean, they dropped 3 out of 4. They still maintain now a game-and-a-half lead. They're on the Astros with the victory that they got on Tuesday night there against the Washington Nationals. Well, before we get to Tuesday's game, let's just talk about the overall road trip. Just how do you think it fared, and that series in particular with the Astros? How do you think it went?
Well, I went 6-4. I mean,
Take that.
Yeah, I take it. Yeah, the Astros series wasn't great, but at the same time, it wasn't like the games weren't competitive. I think one game was bad, but the rest of the games are right there. They lose a game on a walk-off. Sometimes that happens when you're at home, when you're on the road. The one thing you notice about the Mariners bullpen at times is they just don't strike out enough guys. There's too much contact, and that's a problem. Like when Munoz and Brash can get strikeouts and sometimes Spires on lefties, but Legamina's not really a strikeout guy per se. They're missing that strikeout component. Just that kind of stuff. I think that's the bigger issue. You didn't hit as well on the road. Some of the guys have cooled off some. And then the issue with Polanco, they better figure that out. And I mean, because nobody really knows, because God knows that they don't really offer a lot of insight into what's going on with him. But if he can't hit left-handed, like they didn't use him that one night, then what do you have him on the roster for? You should IL him. If he's not going to be able to hit left-handed because his knees bother him or whatever, then you need to clean it up, rest him, and get him back, because I think that's part of the reason why maybe some of his production numbers went down is because he's dinged up a little bit.
Yeah, they've been very secretive about Jorge Polanco, have they not?
Yeah, it's like back in the day when Eric Bedard would get hurt. Nobody knew exactly what was going on.
Yeah. I mean, we thought he was going to cool off at some point, and but again, it's if this is more injury related with him, he's been obviously dealing with the knee going into the season. Then it's the oblique issue, which has caused him not to swing there from the right side. But again, it's problematic, right? Because he's been their best hitter to start the season, but you're starting to see other guys. I mean, Cal Raleigh. We'll get into Cal Raleigh. I mean, what he did on Tuesday Again, a pair of home runs. Julio certainly hitting the ball better, but I do go back to Cal. I mean, I think we could do a show every week about Cal Raleigh, just a segment, because this season, it's historic right now, and it's going to get even more historic for him. I mean, he's got more home runs in the history of Major League Baseball for a catcher through the first 53 games. He has played in every game this season. I do want to address that here in a quick second, but the 2 home runs on Tuesday night, and I mean, I don't know, Divish. I don't know what else to say. Or you're the wordsmith, so you describe the season he's having.
I mean, it's elite, is what it is. If this guy doesn't make the starter for the All-Star team or make the All-Star team, they should just stop having the game. I mean, he'll make the team, but what is his batting average up to? Like 260?
Yeah, something like that. I'll double check it, but yeah.
I mean, like that's and I don't believe in batting average as like a be all end all, but like with him, because he hits the ball so hard, and because he can drive, he hits the ball hard, he drives in, he can hit it out of the park. To have a batting average up in that area means that's why we're seeing the numbers increase. If his contact rate was down, he was putting less balls in play, and he's hitting 210, he probably doesn't have the 16 or 17 home runs or whatever he has. It's like that's, I think. And the one thing about him in talking with him is that he hated that he was in the 220s and 230s. He hated that. He didn't, like some guys just say, accept it, like the Jack Cuss of the world. Well, if I hit a bomb or I walk, but I'm hitting 210, I don't care. Like, he didn't believe in that. This is a coach's kid. He believed he was a better all-around hitter than what he showed, and we're starting to see that. Like, he's a better hitter, and I don't see why he can't even get even better. I mean, like, you just see it now. I really wanted him to hit 3 last night. I thought that would have been cool. 3 from the right side would have been cool, because that would have been different than something, because it's always been a better on the left-hand side. But, yeah, I mean, he's just outstanding. I kind of want to see him play in every game as a catcher this year. Like, not as a catcher, but just appear in every game as a primary catcher.
You want to see him appear, but you want to see him appear in every single game.
Yeah, because I just think it'd be pretty cool.
Well, but I mean, therein lies the rub, right? I agree with you. I mean, it would be the, certainly an Iron Man test, for the position that he plays to appear in every game. I mean, obviously, he's not going to catch every game, but you run the risk, though, don't you?
Of hurting him?
He does not get any time off, and I know he gets in time off and he DHs or he pitch hits and all that, but sometimes he's going to need just like a full day off to like get off his feet and not do anything. Now, he doesn't want to sign up for that, but doesn't the coaching staff at some point need to step in and be like, we need to start sprinkling in some days off for him, or we need him in September?
Yeah, I mean, like this road trip, I thought maybe they would do one on this road trip because it was 10 games, but 10 games in 10 days. There was one off day in there, I think. But like, that's the thing, is like they have had enough like actual off days that I think they've been able to kind of manipulate it, get him an off day here, use it, give him a DH following an off day or something like that too. Sometimes, or a DH day leading into an off day, they feel like that rests him. But I think, he's earned the right for you to trust him and for him to tell you like, hey, yeah, no, I'm fine, and I mean, honestly, it's like your whole lineup complexion changes when he's out of there because it's a looming presence.
Yes.
Like you look at all the kind of advanced metrics and stuff like that. I mean, he's one of the top 4 hitters in the American League or in all of baseball. I mean, it's like Judge and Ohtani and, this guy named Cal Raleigh.
It's wild.
I'll never forget when he was like, I think it was his rookie year, the Marlins tried to get the Mariners to trade Cal Raleigh for that Brian Anderson guy. The Mariners wisely said no.
I mean, he's the best catcher in baseball. I mean, there is no doubt. I mean, you mentioned that. I mean, yeah, starter for the All-Star game. That to me, it's an absolute no-brainer. I mean, he's got the second base on base. He's got the second best on base percentage in baseball. He's only behind Will Smith. He's got the number 1 slugging position percentage. I mean, the average. Well, you mentioned that 258 right now. I mean, 258. This guy, 7th best in baseball. It's just it's incredible. I mean, he's a guy that, we've talked so much about him. And like I mentioned before, I feel like we could do every episode on him because there's so much to unpack that he brings to this team. It's just not as bad. It's how he catches a game. It's how he leads a team. It's how he conducts himself, how he carries himself. He's got this fire to him that is not always like he does not a rah-rah guy, but there's a quiet intensity about him, especially when he goes out on the mound or gives that look to those guys. You've talked about that plenty of times. To me, he is, honestly, if you molded a catcher, created a catcher, I would create Cal Raleigh.
Yeah.
That's him.
That's the thing I think that is perhaps the most impressive is he's just not satisfied with the status quo of who he is as a player or who this team is as a team. He demands more. He demands more in terms of preparation or continuing to improve. And I think that's important. I mean, that's what you want. I mean, that's what you invest in. Like that they got this extension done. You almost want to say, well, what took you so long? Because here's this guy that's shown you that. I mean, like listen to what Logan Evans said last night about him, about, how that Raleigh grabbed him in Houston and talked to him about expectations and what it takes to compete at this level. Probably the same question he had with Brian Wu, certainly conversations he had with Logan. I mean, yeah, you're right. Cal just has to give that look sometimes. But, we can skew ancient here and do the E.F. Hutton thing. Like when E.F. Hutton talks, people listen. You remember that commercial? Like when Cal says something to you and gets in your face, there's no rebuttal. You don't get to answer back. It's like it's a one-sided conversation and you're on the losing end. And I mean, yeah, some people may think he's a dick, but I think he's pretty good. Yeah, I think sometimes you have to be that way. Sometimes you have to have hard conversations and people might not like it, but at the end of the day, you respect him for it. And ultimately all he cares about is getting you better so the team's better.
You got to have quiet leaders, stoic leaders on any team. Yeah. You have to have emotional leaders, I do believe. I think you have to have someone that provides that emotional spark, that wears their emotions on their sleeve. He hasn't been with the team, and we'll get to the injury situation with Robles. I've always felt Robles in a short time here has provided that. I think Julio certainly provides that as well, and there's different ways to lead and show excitement and show intensity, and I think Julio does it certainly a different way than Cal. At the same time, I think it's equally important how they both go about it, even though it's different.
Yeah, I mean, and it's not to say Cal is this gigantic grump that doesn't have any fun. He has a ton of fun. I mean, his acting in that Logan commercial too is one because I don't think it's really acting. That's how they are with each other.
Is this the
one where the pitch com one?
Yeah, that's a good one.
Because it's that's who he is, and he interacts and he's always giving people a hard time and stuff. He's not like this just grouchy, he's so serious, but when it's about business, they when he has to say something and has to be critical, he's not afraid to say it, and he probably won't be. He's not going to sugarcoat it, and I think that's important. You're right. Julio brings an energy, Robles brings an energy, JP brings a high level of baseball IQ, just the understanding of what baseball play needs to make, where people are supposed to be. They have a good mixture of players. If they just honestly, if they had just a little bit more talent, you would say, okay, this team's pretty complete. They're lacking at first base and they're lacking at third base, and they're lacking in the bullpen right now, but. They have a good core group of players that bring something a little different besides what they do on the field to the clubhouse, and that's important.
Yeah, he is. It's just everything that you want there in a catcher, everything that you want in a team leader, and the stuff that he did with Evans, there in Houston, as you just touched on before. There's a great picture of, I think Shannon Dreyer had it on Twitter of just showing them talking, and it's just the stuff that we don't get to see. I mean, we get a little glimpse into that, a little glimpse into last year in Boston with Brian Wu, but there is so much on this guy's plate. I mean, it is amazing everything that he has to do. It's not just batting practice; it's batting practice from both sides. Then it's pitching, it's pitchers meetings with the starters, the bullpen, everybody, scouting reports, working on his craft of being a catcher. I mean, the amount of time and effort he puts in on a daily basis is remarkable.
And then there's all the maintenance for his body too, whether it's, the cold baths, the lifting, all that stuff. It's all kind of a, there's that aspect of it all that you have to do. I mean, it's a daily thing. That's why he's one of the first people there and one of the last to leave. And he hasn't wavered. Got the money, still hasn't wavered. Like all that stuff.
Yeah.
He's the same person. He is what you want in a player.
So be leery when your kid says, "Hey, I'd like to start catching." I'd be like, do you want to be a catcher?
Okay. I mean, it beat the hell out of me, but if honestly, had I just been a catcher to start with, my career would have been a little bit better, I think, but I just didn't get it. I was pretty little too. So.
You know what? You're all grown up now.
Yeah.
You're getting more grown up as it goes.
Yeah, my knees now just regret it every day.
He's regretted. All right, the Logan Evans start. Come on, Dan. What are we doing? He had 88 pitches. Can we just throw him back out there? And don't give me, I understand where he's coming from. Come on. We never get to see this anymore. Ever a complete game. Ever.
Well, you had enough of a lead. Like, even if it went south, do you really need to see the human victory guard, Eduardo Bizardo or whatever? Like, I don't know. I would have let him try it. I would have just said, hey, man, if you get a base runner on, we're pulling you, but go ahead and try and make it work. I guess given that you have two of your starters on the IL and the other one just came off the IL, you might want to run it at risk, but
he was at 88 pitches and was cruising. Just let him dance for a batter or two and see what happens. I thought it was a really cool thing. Another kind of behind the scenes and talking about maybe quiet leadership a little bit. You don't hear that much about Luis Castillo, but I'm sure as a veteran on the pitching staff, he's got the respect of those guys. And it's a really cool moment last night in the handshake line. He kind of pushed Logan Evans out there to separate himself from the rest of the group when the infield or when the players were coming off the field, so they all could congratulate him separately.
Yeah,
that was really cool. That was really cool. That was a nice touch.
That's something like in the big leagues you do, and maybe Logan didn't understand it, but Luis gets it. I mean, he's kind of sly about how he does stuff because he's very unassuming, but he really gets it. He's not a bad guy to have on your staff, and he's actually been pretty decent this year. To be perfectly honest,
he's been good.
They didn't have him. And some of the length he's provided, it might not always be like shutout results, but for a guy to get through 6 almost every time he goes out, him and Wu, I mean, especially when you're shorthanded on your rotation, it's a huge deal.
What do you think that they do now? You got Evans and you've got Kirby back now. Gilbert's going to make a rehab start coming up Thursday. Bryce Miller appears to be back here soon on this homestand. Do they flirt with going with the 6-man rotation? What do you think ultimately they decide? What would be the right thing to do?
I mean, you could do it. You could try it and see, in the sense that, I think, with given the nature of their staff and how much the workload they had last year, that maybe that extra day every so often, that extra day built in is better for them. But at the same time, you're really limiting a bullpen that hasn't been outstanding either. You're putting a lot of pressure on it. And you can send guys down or shuffle guys out. So they could do that. I mean, I haven't looked that closely at the schedule to see if there's enough off days built in where guys get extra days rest, or if they need that 6 starter for a while. So you could do that. The problem is the Mariners don't have a lot of optionable guys in their bullpen. I think it's Legumina.
There he is, Ryan Divish. It is our weekly visit with our MLB Insider. Joins us on Wednesdays. Full show, as you saw there, available for Puck's Posse members. Again, just $5 a month. That was about 16 minutes or so of the full 35-minute show that we did earlier today. So we always give you a little snippet, free preview of it. But again, the full show available, Puck's Posse members. Go to pucksports.com. Sign up, join today. And again, $5 a month is all that it costs you. You can also get a discount if you sign up for a year. Get all the free content we do, plus added bonus shows that we do every single week. If you are streaming the show, you can just click on that QR code It will take you right there as well. All right, let's wrap up a Wednesday show with Hey, What the Puck, brought to you by Restoration One of North Seattle. Your restoration company lets you avoid the stress of water, fire, mold damage with their property restoration services, locally owned and operated. Make them your first call when those damages affect your residential or commercial property. 206-817-8917. Visit them online at restoration1.com, the North Seattle franchise. It was a hard interview to do with Corey Widman earlier today, talking about his son Reese, and obviously it's not as difficult as what Corey and his wife Kelly are going through with their son taking his own life 2 years ago. But you're conducting the interview and trying to keep it together. But on one side, I'm a parent with two kids, and you hope that you are parenting correctly, and I think everyone is doing their best, and you want to make sure that your kid's doing great and that everything's fabulous in their social life. But that's the problem, is you just don't, and this is with everyone, is you never know. You don't know what's going on with your kid. And it is without a doubt every parent's worst nightmare that their kids, pass away before them or certainly take their own life. And in the instance like that, is you just have an enormous amount of regret and guilt about what you could have done better, what you could have changed, what signs were there. I don't know. I don't think there are any right or wrong answers, because, a lot of these incidents that you have with kids taking their own lives are usually happy and outgoing. And there are no signs of it. There's nothing. So I guess as parents, you just have to keep checking in every single day, every day with your kids, almost to the point where Jim talked about you're annoying them, as and I think you want to annoy them actually as much as possible. But it's hard being a parent nowadays. I think it's extremely difficult and harder than ever to be a kid. Yeah, I think it is. I think the way, if you're, my age, 40 plus or whatever, I think it was just a lot easier. There just wasn't all the other stuff that's going on in the world, the role that social media plays and all of this, all of it. I just think there's more to it nowadays. And I think there's a certain amount of pressure being a kid that wasn't ever there before. Kind of felt like when we were kids, we were just kind of kids. Feels like even these guys at their age now, they're not even really kids anymore. It's just it's almost adults, and how they act and how they view things and how people talk to them and how others act to them. So it's hard to be a kid. I guess the lesson is just remember they're kids, and they're not probably going to share everything with you. So, it's just to have a keen eye and engage where they're at is kind of the most important thing. Again, the website there for Corey and his wife, Kelly, Corey Widman, the story about Reese. If you want to read more about it, reach out, get involved. WiddysWork.com, WiddysWork.com, WIDDYS work.com. And again, that National Suicide Prevention line is 988. If you know someone's in trouble, reach out. See anything, just an inkling of an idea, do not hesitate to act. That's it for Hey, What the Puck. Again, brought to you by Restoration One of North Seattle. Make them your call when any issues you have with your commercial or residential property. Phone number 206-817-8917. Visit them online at restoration1.com, the North Seattle franchise. Thank you to everyone for checking in today. It's good to be back. Sorry we were off for the last few days. Thank you to all the sponsors, Lindback Lumber, Chalet Bowl, of course, always Georgetown Brewery. Check out their new Tavern Beer, by the way, georgetownbeer.com. Also, Restoration One. Today's Daily Puck Drop is up on YouTube. Please subscribe to the channel. Also, find the Daily Puck Drop on your favorite podcast platforms, and, of course, at pucksports.com. When you're at pucksports.com, sign up to be a member of the Pucks Posse. $5 a month. You get all the free content, VIP and exclusive shows that we are doing now. Our baseball coverage today, MLB insider Ryan Divish, Sports Pit with Steve Sandmeyer, Matt Stretch Johnson, new episode coming out this Monday. Mitchie the Kid, Mitch Unfiltered every Thursday. So that's tomorrow. And now we produce the Garage with Gas Take 5 podcast, which you can find on YouTube and all podcast platforms. And, of course, up at pucksports.com. We will talk to you tomorrow on a Thursday show. Until then, as always, Promise to be better.
No shoes, no ties.
Would anybody like to smoke some pot?
Yeah.
I was born to love you. I was born to lick your face. I was born to rub you. But you were born to rub me first.
What do you need my address for? We'd like to send out a mailer.
Mother of mercy, I don't speak Japanese!